Hi everyone, this is Becca's Crochet Closet with the second video in my new series, Back to the Basics. And today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a single crochet. It's very simple. It's one of the most basic foundational stitches that you'll need to know. And this is what it's going to look like. This is a chain and a row of single crochets. And the yarn I'm using in this video is Bernat Blanket Yarn in Deep Fuchsia. It's a size 6 bulky yarn, and it calls for an 8mm hook, which I have right here from Clover & More. And for my foundation chain, I prefer to use one size up in the hook so that the foundation chain isn't too tight and difficult to work in, and it'll also begin to kind of like pull your work one direction this way or this way due to having too much tension in that foundation chain. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start with my 9mm hook, and I'm going to crochet a chain of 10. And the very first step is going to be to do your slip knot. And there's a video, which is the first one in the series, that will teach you how to do both a slip knot and a foundation chain if you're unsure of where to begin. All right, so let's chain 10. So we've chained 10. And at this point, I am going to transition to the hook that I'll use for the rest of this project, which is the size 8. So the first thing you're going to do is do your chain, which can be any number. It doesn't have to be a multiple of a certain number. So we have our chain, and the next thing to do is to chain 1. And now we're going to go into the first chain after that, which is right here. So you have the one that your yarn goes through and is going in and out of, and then we have the chain right after. So let's go on that first one. You'll notice for my foundation chain that I only go through one of 3 loops. So there's one, there's the middle one, and there's a third loop. I personally only go to the very top one, and this is for the very first row of single crochets only. So you're going to go through that loop, and now you're going to take your hook, make sure your yarn has some tension, and you're going to place the yarn top of the hook, and with the curve or the hook portion of it pointing up, you're going to pull this yarn through the loop in the chain. Now you're going to have 2 loops on your crochet hook. You're going to put your yarn over your hook again, hook onto the yarn. You're going to pull through both of these loops. So there's 1 and 2. Tighten your stitch if you'd like. And that is our first single crochet. Let's go ahead and do it again. So we have 1 loop on our hook right now, and you're going to insert your crochet hook into the next chain, only the top loop. Add my yarn in my hook, and I'm going to go and place my yarn over my hook. I'm going to do a swoop and grab the yarn with the hooked portion and pull it through the chain so that I now have 2 loops on my hook. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put the yarn over our hook, swoop it, and this time we're going to pull through both loops. There's our second single crochet. And third single crochet. 4. I'm going to go to the end really quickly so I can show you how to begin the next row. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're done. So now I've done my first row of single crochet here. And I'm going to go on to row 2 by doing a chain 1. Oops. By doing a chain 1, I'm going to turn my work. So you just flip it over. And now for the rest of the project, you're going to be working in this hole in each one. So you have 2 loops that you're going to go underneath. So you're going to take your hook, you're going to go under those 2 loops, and you're going to put the yarn over your hook. You're going to swoop it under those 2. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to put our yarn over our hook, and we're going to pull it through both the loops. And a good tip that I didn't realize when I first began to do single crochets is when you insert your hook, you're going to pull the loop through. And when you go to pull this through, if your tension is loose, it's harder to pull through both these loops. It just becomes kind of messy. So if you are having trouble after you have 2 loops on your hook going through both loops, I would suggest that when you put your yarn over your hook, you make sure it's tight. It makes it a lot easier. Pull through both loops. And you just continue on to the end.